What if I told you that your house, your car, your job, the food you eat, the medicine you take when you're sick, and the places you go to for fun are all controlled by a group of people so small they could fit in an average bus? Who are these people? They are billionaires, and it seems they're on a mission to make sure you own nothing. Before we get started, if you're interested in finding captivating videos about our world, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. If you are wondering how humongous the wealth inequality between billionaires and the average Joe is, here is a jaw-dropping stat to put things into perspective. The top 10% of the richest people in the United States own almost 70% of all the wealth in the country. And if we talk about India, the largest democracy in the world, more than 40.5% of the country's total wealth is owned by the top 1%. Well, if those statistics made you feel uncomfortable, I have more shocking news for you. The wealth inequality between the billionaires and the people is changing, but it's going to change for the worse. Water is an essential part of life. There literally can't be life without water. And billionaires know this. That's why there are billionaires who own islands with streams of water. And cities like Flint, Michigan were queuing for clean water.
Welcome to Flint. My name is April Hawkins and I am a resident of Flint. And we are still without clean water.
Clean water is slowly becoming an item of luxury. Soon a time will come when rappers will be flexing water in their music videos. But why is there such an inequality over something like water, when it even literally falls from the sky? Water might be cheaper than copper, but it makes money like a gold mine. You see, the water business is very lucrative to say the least. Since 2016, packaged water has been the most sold beverage in the United States. Water is a key ingredient for life, and your customers literally can't do without it. According to data from the International Bottled Water Association, in 2019, each American consumed 43 gallons of bottled water on average. The average cost of a gallon of water in America is about $1.50, and there are over 300 million Americans. So it's quite safe to say clean water is a multi-billion-dollar business. According to a report published by Allied Market Research, the global bottled water market was estimated to be worth $169.8 billion in 2015 and was expected to hit $319.8 billion in 2022. Anything worth billions of dollars is going to be controlled by billionaires. For billionaires to control the billion-dollar water industry, they have to control the source. Unfortunately for us, those are the natural water bodies, like rivers and lakes. Multinational corporations are building data centers and bottling plants next to rivers and lakes, and this is drastically affecting the whole environment. Water companies in England were responsible for their worst levels of environmental pollution in 5 years in 2019, according to the British ministers and their Environment Agency. You're probably thinking, is monopolizing a necessity that's needed for life to exist legal? And the answer is yes, because even our politicians are being run by the billionaires. Our elected officials are literally supposed to be public servants, but they have become private workers for the billionaires. For example, Sheldon and Miriam Adelson, who are big-time billionaires, donated over $90 million to Trump's campaign. The billionaires fund the campaigns of the politicians in exchange for favors from them when they are elected into office. That's why wealthy people have more access to politicians than the average man. The average politician is barely a public officer anymore, as they are more likely to be found dining with billionaires than spending time listening to the people who elected them in. If the people who were elected to protect the citizens are nothing but puppets being controlled by the wealthy, who is going to stop them from monopolizing every basic need? Well, nobody. That's why billionaires are slowly starting to hoard food like conspiracy theorists during the lockdown. We all know Bill Gates well. It seems ideas from Apple aren't the only things he likes to take for himself. Bill Gates, who was already part of the top 5 richest people in the world, decided owning the majority of every tech product in the world isn't enough, and decided to own the majority of food production in the country. Bill Gates currently owns 242,000 acres of farmland across 19 states. It's already bad they have the majority of the assets in cash. But now they are slowly getting the majority of the food. And soon the decision of what billions of people can or can't eat will be made by less than 100 people. The solution to demonopolize the food industry is slowly being taken away by the billionaires. Because as each day goes by, it's becoming more and more difficult to grow your own food. This is because most of the homes that have enough land to grow food are being bought up by the same billionaires. It's quite difficult to grow your own food if you're living in a 20-story apartment complex. For example, there's a company called BlackRock, which is an American multinational investment management corporation based in New York City. By the way, it is owned by a billionaire called Lawrence D. Fink. BlackRock owns around $60 billion in real estate assets. This is very scary because the value of the housing market in the United States is more like $36 trillion, and we have $60 billion worth all owned by one company which is owned by one man. Airbnb is also buying up massive amounts of real estate. Meanwhile, as companies are securing millions of homes, the average citizen is finding it very difficult and expensive to even get the most basic of apartments. On July 4, 1776, there was the Declaration of Independence in America. On that same day, there were unalienable rights given to every citizen that the government agreed were impossible to take away or give up. Some of the rights were the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Another right was freedom of speech. Those days of rights being issued to everyone because they were equal under the eyes of God are gone. You see, physical assets aren't the only things being bought by billionaires. They are buying up human rights. I know you're probably wondering how they can buy human rights when rights aren't even for sale. Rights aren't for sale, but the avenues which we use to act on our rights can be bought. For example, freedom of speech. It's very unlikely anything that the billionaires don't like will ever make it to the public as major news, because over 60% of American media companies are owned by 15 billionaires. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. Rupert Murdoch, the former CEO of 21st Century Fox, his family alone controls 120 newspapers across 5 countries. Although the right to freedom of speech can't be bought, the billionaires have bought every access in which your speech can reach the majority of the population, thereby actually controlling the right of speech in a sense. Elon Musk buying Twitter and YouTube hiding the dislikes on videos are some of the recent examples of billionaires allegedly toying with people's freedom of speech. There's an old saying that goes, "Laughter is the best medicine." Well, that seems to be false, because for more than 50 years, federal and state lawmakers have been fighting price gouging. And it's not over comedy tickets. Medicine is already monopolized. A small hand of billionaires own the majority of the pharmaceutical companies. Take for example Turing Pharmaceuticals. Their former pharmaceutical executive single-handedly decided that Daraprim, which is an essential drug needed for AIDS patients, shouldn't be affordable anymore, and decided to raise the price by 5,000%. He raised the price from $13.50 per pill to $750 per pill. Unfortunately for him, he was one of the very few wealthy people that was prosecuted. US District Judge ordered Martin to return $64.6 million in profits from the Daraprim price hike. Martin was also barred from the pharmaceutical industry for the rest of his life. Unfortunately, the skyrocketing cost of medicine for the gain of the wealthy is still going on well in today's society, to the point where the Trump administration tried to force pharmaceutical companies to put their price in ads in order to boost competition and reduce cost. However, that failed horribly, and medicine prices are still at an all-time high. Health, food, water, and medicine are becoming things of luxury, and it seems almost as if the wealthy 1% are buying happiness. If you think about it, they own most of the land, food, water, and even communication, taking away the very things that make life worth living. The average man can't get anything without being first milked by the top 1%. It's becoming harder and harder to own anything these days. It seems like anything and everything that's of value is run by some corporation, organization, or business, which is owned by some billionaire. Billionaires are at an all-time high, while average income is at an all-time low. The age-old tale of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer is getting worse each day. Well, it's not surprising when you realize we have privatized everything. Life has become a commodity and the billionaires are buying all of it. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love for you to be here in the future, so subscribe for more and I will see you in the next one.